Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, even with the recent update to the DP system that makes many characters actually feel better to play, especially online, still is lacking quite a bit. It doesn't have anything that makes the game stand out in a unique way from the core gameplay to the characters. Hell, it doesn't even have those dynamic intros we saw that were promised to us like one time ages ago. Do you guys remember that? And all of this could easily be fixed if they had literally the limitless potential of the Super Dragon Ball Heroes cast playable in the game. Major issues like, lack of unique character gameplay or lack of unique character playstyle. Every character in the game is just a rush-down character that combos you, then does a step-in, then combos you, and then does another step-in. Not even like any character really excels in a Ki Blast. You just kind of use the Ki Blast that's the fastest or the strongest. A good example is any Broly Grab or Gamma Burst Flash if you're a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta main. If you are, by the way, let me know in the comment section down below because I still think that character is amazing. Maybe the first Dragon Ball game where Vegeta's actually better than Goku. I've been saying this since the game's come out, but it's true in Sparking Zero. Regardless, even if they don't add the Super Dragon Ball Heroes characters, there's still a lot of unique plots to take from Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Kid Buu versus Janemba, very shocked that's not a what if, considering Kid Buu can teleport anywhere, and Janemba is in the afterlife and Kid Buu's gone there before. That's just a very easy what if to do. Hirudegan versus Hit, that's completely possible in the game. Both those characters are in the game. There's just so many unique things that Super Dragon Ball Heroes has done. The family Kamehameha, Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Super 17 absorbing even more characters to buff himself. Hell, if Super 17 was in the game in general, then we'd actually have a high DP character who absorbs Ki Blast. Now the only DP characters we have that absorb Ki Blast are low DP and unpopular like Goro and 19. Now that they've been nerfed severely because they were pretty broken when the game came out, no one is using any Ki absorbing characters, which means the mechanic is basically useless and it's a waste. They programmed a whole mechanic for 2 characters that no one would ever play. An issue that could have easily been solved had they just, made Super 17 or just hell, make Super Dragon Ball Heroes characters that actually have unique mechanics. Now again, I get that there's a whole licensing thing when it comes to Super Dragon Ball Heroes and other things along those lines, but somehow Xenoverse was just barely able to break that boundary. Now I do mean in the sense that Xenoverse might be closer linked to Super Dragon Ball Heroes than anything, but the mention of Fu himself, Towa and Mira's kid, actually started in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Xenoverse was just the first game to show his adult design in proper, true form, and then Super Dragon Ball Heroes just took the adult design back. So clearly this kind of connection can happen in a company. I don't think it's as hard as people make it sound when it comes to fighting for the rights of these characters. I think half of it is really just Dragon Ball sitting on a money printing machine and not knowing what to do with it, because we already know that they suffer from that more than anything else. So the fact that they haven't collabed Super Dragon Ball Heroes more often is probably more of a problem of them sitting on a money machine and not doing anything with it, rather than trying to get permission from another, section of the company or ownership, and it's not really working out so well, because I have no idea why Dragon Ball has this hard of a time making a collab, but everything else has a really easy time making collabs inside of their own studios, their own companies, their own businesses, even stuff like Easter eggs. Super Dragon Ball Heroes doesn't even have Easter eggs that appear in other Dragon Ball media. Is that not weird? There's not even an Easter egg or a slight mention or a meme about anything. I'd say that's more of a product of them not actually trying, because again, don't forget Dragon Ball has collabed with Naruto at one point, so it'd be really weird if they could collab with Naruto and not themselves to do other stuff. But yeah, Super Dragon Ball Heroes, man, I'm just thinking about it. Blue Evolved Gogeta, man, hearts with his ultimate transformation too, where he gets the Shadow Dragon, like Shenron spikes coming out of his back. That'd be dope. There are just so many cool things that happened overall in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Vegito, imagine if they made a new preset of Vegito Blue like they did with Daima Goku, except he has Kaioken in his skills, because Vegito Blue in Super Dragon Ball Heroes goes all the way to Kaioken times 20. Golden Cooler, Golden Metal Cooler, all of these cool unique things. We are starving, bro. Imagine if they made the humanoid version of Dr. Wheeler as a 6 or a 7 DP fighter. The Dr. Wheeler battle suit, that looked cool. I mean, I'm disappointed that was only in Super Dragon Ball Heroes for one episode. It was very underused, but it looked actually genuinely cool, man. And this isn't even talking about how all these characters fought pretty uniquely and differently. Yeah, Super Dragon Ball Heroes has a lot of the where characters just do attack rushes non-stop for most of the combat, and then occasionally do a beam super every now and then. But for the most part, the characters actually did heavily rely on their abilities to help them out in a fight. I think that that worked a lot. The Tuffle twins always were basically just taking over people's bodies or just using their really weird physiques as much as possible. That would make for another high DP healing character in the game, or at least a good regen character in a sense. Maybe the Super Dragon Ball Hero versions of Goku Black, aka Crimson, would actually have a skill that benefits him the lower his health gets, or a passive. Again, I've been saying Sparking Zero should probably have passive skills or active skills, like Super Spur Bomb should do more damage if you have more surviving teammates. Revenge Death Ball should also do more damage if you have more. I think that would just be cool in general to just have if characters had passives or active skills. And honestly, Super Dragon Ball Heroes makes a pretty good case for that. You could have characters like Hot maybe do bonus damage against characters of God Key, since his entire plan is to eliminate the gods. That would be extremely cool, but we're still in a timeline where we don't have that, so... I need to put those foolish ambitions to rest. Or hell, even the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s, just anything to get a Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta end up being 9 DP characters as well. I think that'd be sick. I mean, Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Gogeta would still obviously just be 10 DP Gogeta, but he could maybe have like a moveset change, maybe different supers, because, you know, he does do different moves. You know, Dragon Fist, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta Dragon Fist is so goddamn cool. And speaking of, Dokkan is even doing Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's Dragon Fist as well. So, bro, if Dokkan is doing Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's Dragon Fist, there's no reason why Sparking Zero is just sitting here, not doing anything with all of the unique... Like, you don't even have to add the characters from Super Dragon Ball Heroes. You can just take the concepts or the moves. A good example is Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 couldn't actually add Ultra Ego, like Vegeta, from the Dragon Ball Super manga. So instead they're compensated by using the Dark Key mechanic from the Supervillain crystals to make Supervillain Ultra, like Super Saiyan God Vegeta. And you can tell that they mean that as a sense of Ultra Ego, because they even put it on the same tier as Ultra Instinct for Goku, which we already know is comparable to Ultra Ego. So I think that's just really funny that Xenoverse 2 can't actually do Ultra Ego from the manga, because manga content is actually completely off limits. It's not like Super Dragon Ball Heroes where sometimes there's a collab or a crossover. It's actually just completely off limits. If Xenoverse is willing to go that far just to make, you know, a reference to appease to the fans, because they know the fans want this, so we're going to do our best to have it in. I think Sparking Zero should also put similar efforts in, at least just put a reference to the characters or nods, maybe add an extra what if story or two with, you know, actually in the story mode and not just a custom battle event. I think that'd be really cool if Sparking Zero just did that tiny bit more to you know, obviously, you know, get the wider fan base on its side, because I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball is kind of aware they're at a point that, like, look, the most recent anime we got was Dragon Ball Daima. That was literally just a, oh crap, we don't have anything left, let's bring Super Saiyan 4 back real quick. And even then, it was really rushed. They wanted to obviously have more. They wanted to introduce the fusion bugs. They wanted to introduce all of these other things, like including Gohan, who never physically showed up in the anime, or even Dragon Ball Daima, which wanted to just appeal to the fans by going, hey, look, Super Saiyan 4, look, it's just another version of Dragon Ball GT. They had a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor that never actually made it to the show. So Dragon Ball itself is having a hard time putting new things in. I think it's time to just go, hey, look, let's just use all of our source material. Let's use Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Let's use the manga. Let's use the movie. We still haven't done Bio Broly. I'm not saying that Bio Broly needs to happen, but they could just make a villain that's like a clone of a Saiyan that turns into like a giant freaky monster, right? Dragon Ball hasn't really experimented with the giant freaky monster thing. I'm not saying they need to make an alien from like Aliens or anything, but it'd be nice if we got like an abomination that was supposed to be just like, you know, a Saiyan cloned by a race that doesn't understand the power of a Saiyan, so it kind of goes haywire. Or hell, we still don't even have canon Janemba. We still don't have a canon Dragon Fist. We don't have any of these things canon. All of these things that Dragon Ball still can make canon, just like Super Saiyan 4. We still don't have any of those things canon, so that's actually quite shocking, but I hope they get on it at some point, because the Dragon Ball games, especially stuff like Xenoverse and Sparking Zero, they are running out of content to add. Sparking Zero is going to add Daima Super Saiyan 4, and then literally what else are they going to do? Charlotte was a surprise that we only just barely got because of the Dragon Ball Legends anniversary. Without that, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero literally has free DLCs, so unless if they start selling stages, that game is pretty much dead in the water the second the last DLC comes out, because we know DLC for Sparking Zero only lasts like a few days because it's characters that people know should be in the game from the beginning. Unless if it's a big surprise character, like, you know, again, stuff like Charlotte or Super Dragon Ball Heroes, it's most likely just gonna get ignored. And I think that is all. I basically ended up doing the whole video's voice again because I had so much more stuff to say, but I think that's a good place to end the video. Again, if you guys have any thoughts or feelings about the Super Dragon Ball Heroes or how Sparking Zero in general could expand its character roster, please let me know in the comment section down below. And I do love you all, and I hope this is a good place to end the video. If you guys enjoyed it, then obviously again, please leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, it greatly supports the channel, and leave a comment down below as to what you'd like to see next, fellas. I do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time, fellas. Take care, and peace.